here, Drayton Valley,
Where are you, Audrey?
California.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It was
it's chilly
nice
there too.
yesterday afternoon, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Audrey, is your microphone working? Test 1, 2.
I'm not sure she's on even aware. I think we're on another page. I don't think she's.
I'm thinking that she is. She is on another tab and
Yep.
not watching us. Oh,
Not
actually, you know
listening or
what? That's what it
watching.
is. She's got two computers. I remember now.
Mm,
So one computer is looking at her, and that one is obviously muted. So,
yeah.
all right.
Where is Audrey?
Audrey is in Drayton Valley, probably about it's about an hour's drive north of where I am in Rocky Mountain House. So very western central Alberta.
I've never been to. Well, I've been to Calgary.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Calgary is about 2.5 hour drive south from here.
You guys are cold.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, not yesterday. Was it the day before? I think it was Saturday morning. It was minus 34.
Celsius.
Yes, Celsius, but
Okay.
still, that's probably about minus
10.
27 or minus 25 Fahrenheit. So
Really?
yeah, as the temperatures drop, they
They
actually
get
meet
cold.
up
Start
at
getting
minus
colder.
40.
Mm.
Minus 40 is where they actually meet.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's no, thank you.
It's cold.
I lived in Colorado for a while, and when it got below zero, when you go outside and your snot freezes, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. That's
Yeah.
cool enough.
Oh yeah.
I can
Yeah.
imagine the burn on your skin, and you can't even be exposed to it, can you? Not really.
No, yeah, I mean there are, well, I think minus 30 by that time. If you have 5 minutes of skin exposed, you do risk frostbite. Yeah. And it
Really?
burns. It does burn.
I like Maui with occasional Northern California scene change.
Yeah.
I
All
grew up
right,
in
let's
Texas. There was pretty extreme changes there,
mhm.
quite hot and quite cold. But yeah,
All right, we are ready, I believe. Let's go. Oh, I need one more window here and then I can start analysis. So today we're going to go an overview on the markets. I'm not going to go into every asset that I'm currently trading right now, just because I want to keep it as relevant as possible to the main markets. And I'm going to stay on the daily chart as well here, just so we can see a little bit of detail to the overall movement. So now I'll go ahead and bring up this over here so I can, there we go. Hey, Audrey, I see you looking. Hello. Hello. We can just barely hear you. Yep. You're okay though? You can hear now? Okay, there's something really quiet.
Can you hear me?
I'll just we can hear a little bit.
as you leaned in, it was a little better.
Let me get this back here again so I'm back in
Oh.
the normal.
Can't
Okay.
hear you, Paul, still.
Oh, there. Now we can hear you.
I can't hear you either, Judy.
Oh, we can
Okay.
hear you now.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
I can't hear either one of you. Maybe my volume's down. Hold on, just a minute. Maybe that's the problem.
99% of the time.
Did your microphone? Oh, wait, yep, my speaker's down. There we go. There we go. Talk now.
Talk now.
Talk now. Woohoo!
Awesome.
So, Paul, I'm so excited. I have to tell
Yeah?
you this really, really quickly. So,
Oh, okay.
Remember Trojan?
Trojan.
Remember I said, "Oh, I should have known you sooner. I lost all that money."
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I get a call this morning over an hour ago, or just, yeah, under an hour ago.
Yeah.
It is the recovery department of blockchain. And he's also going to look into Atomic Wallet for me.
How did that come about? How did he find out about your case?
Well, what they're doing is they're going through blockchain and catching all the ones that haven't been recovered, right? So
Okay.
they're trying to find their phone numbers, information to be able to get to people to be able to get it out of the blockchain.
Okay, then.
It's
Well,
the
let me know
recovery
how that
department,
goes.
and he's not asking for any money.
Not asking for keys.
Well, he does want to go in. He does want to take into my crypto and wallet and put it in there. So I'm thinking if you would be here listening, and maybe I set up the camera where you can see what he's doing,
Right.
then you can tell me whether.
Or we could do a 3-way meeting.
Yeah,
He
I
comes
can tell
in
him, hey,
and
I want
we
my.
host him. We host him in a meeting where we have a controlled environment. I don't trust him.
Yeah, me
There is
either.
no recovery of the blockchain. It doesn't happen that way. Now, I believe that he may be a recovery specialist
Mm-hmm.
and may be able to provide some guidance as to what happened, but I'd be very surprised because without the keys, you don't have access.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have the keys.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was with Atomic, and something
Mm-hmm.
happened where Atomic literally changed the addresses associated with your keys. That's the only thing I can think.
Anyway, he's doing this at about 1:45.
Okay. Like as in the
He's
next
calling me,
20 minutes.
and then we're supposed to get on a Zoom.
Okay. Well, see if you can schedule it out, and yeah, let's make sure that I can be a part of it. That'd be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I told him that I had a friend who was helping me
Yeah.
try to recover, and so I will say that I need my friend on the call.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. If it's only me, feel free to bail and go help her. I'm good.
Oh, we'll see what happens here.
Okay.
I also have a very tight schedule today because Mondays are usually a day where I have a little bit less happening until of course the evening. But then I have like today I have got to get my computer all updated and ready to go because it's been a long time. I don't like doing computer updates. I don't like that. I think that their security features are always they are always bad whenever they first come out. So I always wait until there's more stability to the release. And so today's the day I got to do it because my computer is definitely needing the update. And that's going to put me down and out of the productivity world for about 4 hours. So I got to do that first thing this morning right after this. Okay, let's get started. Charts. Da-dum, da-dum. Share my screen. Here we go. And solo. All right, so I made a chart last week actually where I was showing the coincidence of these highs and lows in the crypto markets. And I put circles wherever there was a significant low or
What
a
are we looking
significant
at?
high. Oh, this chart is giving us a total of the market cap. So all of the market capitalization of cryptocurrencies.
So all the cryptos are in there.
All the cryptos in the world. What are they worth? And over here, this is the date. This is the timeline. And then here, that's the price. And so throughout the history we have seen a lot of volatility because it's been, it started off with just a few billion here. And then, of course, it went screaming up to 700 billion here, retracing down from 700 billion. Just think about that, from 700 billion down to 97 billion with an 86% drop. And then from there, went up 2,700% to 2.9 trillion. And today we're at some new highs. We just recently formed a new high. At the peak was $3.7 trillion, 3.73. But what I was doing was I was coinciding these highs and lows with the purchase power of the US dollar. And what was coinciding, and the reason why I'm just bringing this up, is these circles here actually coincided. This was a low in the US dollar, and this was a high in the US dollar. This was a low in the US dollar. This was a high in the US dollar. And what we experienced here, in this moment here, on the US dollar, we experienced a high. And this, because of where we're at in this whole crypto AI bubble, this here is now a low. Because this being a high, this being a low, we had a climb up, but we didn't quite go above there. But then we retraced, and when the dollar had its peak value, this formed a new low. Now it's not lower than this, but this is classed as a low because of this big, well, there it is right there. There's the low. This coincided with a high in the valuation of the dollar, and this was only in August 2024. So since that time, US dollar's been declining and the cryptos have been going up. And what we've experienced over the last couple of weeks, no, you know what? I'm going to say since Christmas, we've been seeing a lot of volatility. And it's looked up as, let's go to this isn't all of the cryptos. This is just the top 30. So this is an index now, similar to what we have with the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is an index of the top 30 performing companies in America. Well, this is the top 30 performing cryptocurrencies around the world. And what we had here, I'm going to go in, just give a little bit of detail here. This chart now represents, every one of these lines now represents 4 hours of price action. The other one that I was at was a week of price action per bar. So we're just seeing more detail now in the whole scheme of things. Now, what had been occurring, and ever since, like this was December, middle of December here, what had been occurring was this consolidation, just bouncing up and down and up and down. And then here, it was like a free fall. And a lot of people thought that because we went down below this consolidation range, that was the end of crypto for now, that it was probably not going to come back, that we weren't going to be seeing a bubble. But this drop.
When was that? Was that just, what date was that?
This
that you're on right now?
Yeah, this all occurred right at the start of February.
Oh.
And so a lot of people got cold feet and they started selling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as those positions sold, all those panicking people, fearful people, sold their assets at a loss. It was people like me, people like the big companies, BlackRock, Vanguard, those guys, they were just gobbling up those positions that whole time. Remember, it's blockchain, so we can see what's going on. Couldn't see what was going on all the time with the old style markets. You had to pay for that kind of data to see how much were people spending. But here, we don't necessarily know who's doing the spending, but we can see the wallets. And so we can see what kind of positions are being taken. And I made a second little box here, this little purple box, just to give people a little bit of a an idea of what we're watching happen form here is another consolidation range. And whenever there's a consolidation range where it really just kind of goes sideways for a while, it doesn't dip down and it doesn't, like here it went screaming upwards. This is neither. This is what we call sideways market. This box here is going to end up providing some structure for the price action for the next little while, probably about a week based on what we're seeing. And by that, I'm a part of other groups, just like you guys are a part of this group. I'm a part of another group. It's like $250 a month to be a part of it, and I'm getting some quality feedback on what's going on in the market. High quality, like I don't want to say necessarily expert voices, but in the sense of cryptocurrencies, yes, experts, because they've been through this a couple of times already. They've been through these bubbles. And so they're saying that this is very typical for what we've seen in the past in how the cryptos behave, especially when there's been volatility in Bitcoin. And when we look at Bitcoin, it also experienced that drop at the beginning of February. But it didn't leave the consolidation range. In fact, we were before that dip, we had actually gone into a downward trend. So we were in a bearish trend all the way since the middle of December. And that's actually, to me, what looked like the bearish trend was right here, this line. But what happened here in the middle of January, the price received another big jolt. It went up and actually created a brand new high price of $109,000. And then it came back down. And when it dipped at the beginning of February, here's January 31st right now where my crosshair is. January 31st, it dropped. But when it dropped, it didn't even go lower than the previous low. In fact, it only tested, we call this a test of the line. This trend line here, going from here to here, that was pointing down this way. Well, when Bitcoin went up above it and created that new high, it made this trend line. This trend line was providing resistance, pushing the price down. But once it got above here, it actually, you can see it bounced off the top side of that. And even this, we call this a test because it pushed down below that line. But when we zoom in, we can see it only took 8 hours for it to recover, and it has stayed above that line. And so that simply means that from a psychological perspective, what we're seeing happen in the markets right now is more faith than what we had in December. Because throughout December and January, is that right? Yeah, up until the middle of January, right here, the faith was going down. So that is this is actually a really, really fantastic position. And it's funny because the reason I think this is funny is because if people just look at the 2-hour chart, and they're making their analysis based off of this, they would say, yeah, this is gonna continue to go down. But if we zoom out and let's take a look at the weekly chart. When we zoom out, we can see, oh yeah, and I put these lines up months ago. I put these lines up so people could see where the elections occurred. So whenever there's been an election, the price has never come back. It got close here in 2022, but that was because Biden was pretty much the worst for cryptos. And so this became close, but in the past, it's never come close to returning to the election levels. And so when we now take a look at this, you can see that whatever we experienced here at the beginning of February, it doesn't even make a blip on the chart. So a lot of the anxiety that people were feeling last week and the week before, as we were headed into February, people were concerned. And I just like to remind people the larger time frames. So when you look at the charts and you are like each one of these bars represents 1 week of price action. When you look at this, when you look at it from this perspective, you get a clearer idea of where we're headed, because the longer time frames, if they're showing a pattern, they will overrule the patterns of anything occurring on the smaller time frames like this. On the smaller time frame, this looks volatile, and it is. It is volatile when you consider how the other markets move on smaller time frames. But when it comes right down to it, it doesn't matter what this one says. We look, what's the long-term trend? We just finished off basically that first little impulse that occurs after the election, and that always happens. Here's the 2020 election. There's an impulse, and then it kind of hangs out for a while. And it might not even go above very high, much higher after that. Well, we did the same thing in a shorter period of time. Here it went up. We reached this high. We came down. We went up just a little bit higher here, and then we're consolidating. It's the same thing that happened last time. What about the time before? What do you know? We zoom in here. Here's the 2016 election. Went up, and it came back down again, and then it went up. This movement here, this was November 16th, October 16th. I don't know why it says that. This should be the line here. This went to January, and then it retraced. Go back to today. 2020, here's 2024. There it is, November. December started to come down. There's the beginning of January. Retracing, back and forth. So we're just at the very start of this election cycle's price action when we take a look at how things occurred across history. And that's all we're doing. That's all we are. We are pattern recognition specialists. That's our job. Just like conspiracy theorists, like people call them conspiracy theorists. They're not. They're actually spoilers, spoiler alerts. That's what I call them. It's just pattern recognition. That's all it is. And so here we have a great spot to get in. Like, it is not too late. When you take a look at what the price does after the elections, you can see we've only just barely got started. Now, yes, between each election, there's a lot of space, right? But bear in mind, and it looks like it's getting smaller, but bear in mind, I actually have my graph, because we're dealing with cryptos, I do not have my graph to scale. And the reason why is because we're headed into a massive, massive bubble. And in order for us to see a lot of the price action, we need to condense the price as it goes up the chart. And so the distance between here and here, this is 60 times. So it went from here to there and increased by 60 times, by a factor of 60. But a factor of 60 doesn't look the same up here. It takes up a lot more because I have the algorithmic scale, or the logarithmic scale. So as this scale goes up, the numbers are basically closer together. So it doesn't look like it's moving up that much, but it still is, because here's a 6,000% increase. This one here is a 1,900% increase. And then here, what is this one? Probably like 430% increase. So they do get smaller, but this is not to scale. It is not to scale. So the movement that we have next, the movement that we expect next, is a pulse going up to about 120,000. So we're going to see a new high somewhere around here and likely come back to retest these levels before we head up to our first target, which is at $150,000. Once Bitcoin reaches $150,000, I am starting to initiate my exit strategy, and I'm going to be doing it over a period of time. As the price continues to increase, I will continue to sell larger and larger volumes every single time. This is called dollar cost averaging. I want to make, not, it's not a cost this time, but what is it called when it goes up? I can't remember. I think it's, well, it's maximizing your profits is what it's doing. And so yeah, once I get up to target 2, I'll probably be out of crypto altogether. I might have a few here and there just to play around. But currently, these 2 targets are letting me know when to look at my assets and start getting rid of these positions so that I can capitalize on all of those gains. We're going to take a look at a couple other charts here. Ethereum. And Audrey, you must be getting ready to go pretty soon. Definitely make sure that appointment becomes...
Well, he has to call me on the phone first.
Okay. All right.
And then we're going to set up whatever.
A meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so this call is to set up the meeting in the future.
Well, the call is, yeah, he's going to set, I don't know what he's doing. He's just going to, he said we're going to be on Zoom.
Okay, perfect. Well, if you need,
and I will probably on my phone put the video and say, hey, I'm going to record this on my phone.
Yeah.
For security purposes.
Yep, exactly. Well, if you want, so when you're with him and you're scheduling it, if you want, look at my schedule on here, and if you can coincide sometimes where I'm available, awesome.
Okay, I'll look. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so Ethereum, here's another big one. Again, people thought that this drop was the end, but we're gonna zoom. Well, this is zooming out rather. People thought that this was end, but you can see this is not even close to the end. We've got a lot of potential here, especially since these highs are climbing. Having these highs climb and these lows here, like this low here, it go lower a little bit, lower 2062 and 2050. That doesn't count. It's too close to call this a low that went lower. And the reason why is because you can see, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how these bars work. So at the beginning of the week, it starts there. So you see that little notch on the bar? That's the opening price of the week. Sure, it drove down. And the bears were having fun, thinking, yay, I made my money, I'm just selling out. So as the price dropped, the bears took back, the bulls took back over again. So price goes down, but it doesn't stay there long. In fact, I'm going to zoom into the 2-hour chart. So now
you don't have anything until Wednesday, Paul.
Really, eh? Okay. If you want, I can give you a slot Tuesday afternoon.
I'm just gonna record it, Paul. I'll just record it.
All right. Yeah.
Thanks.
Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. No problem. Okay. So here is where that drop happened. It went down, sure. Now remember, each of these bars are 2 hours. So it went down, but it came right back again within 4 hours. So we don't consider this low that occurred. We don't consider this to be a trend because the bulls took it right back again and brought us back to the average price that we had had for, well, this was back in August, October. We had the little pulse there into November and December, came back down through January, February, but now we're back right here again. So we are in a great spot, very good purchase position. And now that we know that Ethereum is being used to back real world assets like our cell phone bills, our water bills, our mortgages, land titles, everything. They're tokenizing everything. And they're using Ethereum as a backer for it. I'm okay with that. They can have it. It's a shit coin, anyways. I look forward to all of the problems that they're going to have and wake people up to the solutions that are a lot better. But between now and then, Ethereum right now sits at $2,640, but it's expected to reach $10,000 by the end of this cycle. So just Ethereum could potentially 4x, and that's a big thing. That's a big thing for how large of an asset this is. All right, that's really what I wanted to focus on today, was an overview of the price action that we've been seeing over the last little while, kind of an explanation for it, and also just to let people know that we're not out of the woods. Like we're here for the ride. Or I shouldn't say out of the woods. It sounds like there's bad stuff coming. We aren't. This is normal. This price action is something that happens every single cycle. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. I get comments in this live stream. So whether you're on X or if you're on YouTube, when you comment, I'll see it in the stream here. But also, like I was sharing with Audrey, if you have any questions about what's going on here, or if you would like to have a strategy session with me, please feel free to book my time. I want to make sure that whatever it is that you have for goals, whatever it is that you want to see happen for yourself, your family, your community, financially, I want to make sure that you are lined up in the right direction. I might not go with you on your journey, but I've been exploring this realm now for quite some time. And if you would, if you wanted to, you could think of it as kind of like how America started, where it was a wild frontier. And they called it the Wild West because anything went. It was the natural law at the time. The same sort of thing has occurred here, except this frontier is a little virtual in the sense that we don't really have a tangible experience with a digital world. We see the effects of it, but the frontier itself is large. And I've been studying this as it unfolds, as it's unfolded since 2008, when I first found out about the digital ID. And so my intention is to make sure that other people are equally as prepared for this day as I am. Because I can tell you right now, when that digital ID comes out, I'm not going to have any fear about signing up for it. And that's simply because I know what the law is. And when you understand what the law is, and you also comprehend where the trends are, you can navigate this Wild West with ease. And so if you have goals, if you've got aspirations, if you have a vision for yourself, I will point you in the direction of this wild frontier that will help you get to your goals the fastest. And I'll be able to help you avoid some of the pitfalls that are out there. Now, that's that for today. Thank you so much, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.